Greetings to all the beautiful people all around the world, friends and family, Formula One fans out here. I just want to touch on a subject here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton's costly error on the 49th lap, on lap 49 before the restart of the race. So basically, on lap 46 here, Max Verstappen had a crash here, and then the safety car came out and done 2 laps, and then Red Bull told the FIA organization body to red flag the race. So they red flagged the race because they had no warning on the tire failure. Max Verstappen had a tire failure, so it gave everybody a chance to change their tires and start the race again. So Lewis was in second position after Max crashed. Perez was in first. So what happened is during the red flag period, Mercedes found a crack in Lewis Hamilton's front wing, and they changed their front wing, but the new front wing that they changed, it didn't have too much holes in it. The holes they tweaked it so it was kind of like a closed front wing. It wasn't an open front wing. So I noticed when on the warm up lap here, Lewis Hamilton's brakes were smoking. And then when he got to the grid here, the brakes were smoking. But if you look at the image above here and you look on the top right hand corner, you're gonna see the red arrow pointing to the brake button. That's a magic brake button that Mercedes AMG Petronas use to warm up the tires, to warm up the tires and the brakes here and the rims and that, yeah, to give them a better acceleration from the corners, like to give them better acceleration off the line, off the pull off, yeah. And that meant that they're able to make more ground up when they have that kind of system. So the magic brake button, Lewis used it on the grid here. His tires were smoking. He was in second position. You know, remember he could have finished second and had the 18 points. So pulling off the grid, he pulled off well. He had the move done on Sergio. He got ahead of Sergio, but Sergio kind of jinked into him. And then trying to adjust his hand movements here, he touched it. He flicked the switch of the magic brake button. So when Lewis Hamilton flicked the switch on the magic brake button, that made him lose. The brake balance. So basically, that button, yeah, switches the balance of the brakes to the front to like 70% at the front and 30 at the rear, instead of like 55-45 or 50-50 or whatever settings the driver prefers. So that was very disappointing for Lewis Hamilton to make that error, and he went straight on in the first corner. He couldn't even turn because the brakes was locked, the tires was locked. So it was a really costly error, and he lost. He finished the race last. He finished 16th. So it was a really costly error, and I'm sure Mercedes are kicking themselves. Because they made that Lewis made that error. So it's an operational error. So yeah, it was an uncharacteristic error for Lewis Hamilton, and you know the haters are loving it. The Verstappen fans are loving it. You know they So basically, Lewis could have took the lead of the championship, but that's gone anyway. In one corner, one mistake, and then that's gone. So it was a very uncharacteristic error for Lewis Hamilton, and I'm sure he'll bounce back. And be stronger in the next few races. So I'm thinking to myself, the next track is France, and Mercedes should be strong in a midsection and the ending of the lap, because it's got a long straight, like a 0.8 of a kilometer straight. So yeah, looking forward to that. Grand Prix is gonna be okay. They should have some performance, and even Max Verstappen, he crashed and he didn't score no points. So both championship protagonists, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, did not score no points. But they gotta watch out for Sergio Perez, because Sergio Perez is only like 30 points or 35 points behind both of them. And if they don't, keep having DNFs here, Sergio's gonna rise up and challenge them. And then if you look at the button at the top there, yeah, with the red arrow pointing at it, that's the magic brake button. That's the button that you press here on your warm up lap here to warm up the tires, and it switches the brake bias frontwards. In it overrides the brake balance basically, and switches it frontwards, and that makes you able to warm up your tires in quick succession before the race start, or under safety car, or under virtual safety car. So it's a really technical innovation that Mercedes put on their car. And but Mercedes, when they make a mistake, they always make changes. So they're gonna try and move the position off that button. And if they move the position off that button, well, the drivers have to relearn that. The drivers have to relearn that and make sure that they don't make the same error again, because that was a very, very uncharacteristic and costly error. I've never seen I've seen in 2016 where at the Spanish Grand Prix, Nicorosberg started on the wrong engine settings, and he was so slow. Lewis was about 70 kilometers faster than him, but they both ended up crashing. And you can see in the picture above Lewis Hamilton going off in turn one. He going off. That's after you can see the smoke, the brake smoking, and then you can see him going off after he brake. He was basically going straight in it. He could not turn. So yeah, that was the rhythm of the Grand Prix. And you can see in the next picture, this one above, you can see him completely off the circuit and everyone going past into turn one. So he must have been kicking himself in that moment. And Formula One is a very difficult sport, and the drivers deal with a lot of mental health and stuff like that. So it's not easy. The other error that I've seen in 2016 was when Nico Rosberg started the Spanish Grand Prix on the wrong engine settings, and then he ended up going too slow in the first 3 or 4 corners, and Lewis was catching up to him, but they both ended up crashing because they both didn't want to yield. So that was a quite difficult Grand Prix for both of them. That was one of the other times I've remembered like a cost like a mishap in the drivers like controlling the steering wheel for Mercedes. But to look at other teams, there's always other problems as well. So yeah, give thanks and take care.